So I bid on a dining table job, and I got it. That's the next project. While I'm trying to get some stuff done in the house. Here I'm going to walk you through kind of my process for coming up with a quote, and then we'll get to the build. So the first part of this dining table is looking at what lumber I was going to use. I did have to adjust my prices a little bit because of the cost of materials. Even though it was a smaller table than I originally designed, I used better materials, so there's that. This is basically what it looks like. And it's got two base boards here, but then it has leg supports, and then it has top supports. So what I looked at was using poplar boards. Now, I had quoted for 1x4x8 boards that I was going to use. I ended up using 1x6s. But those are the leg supports, top supports. The leg bases are just simply these pieces right here. So the leg bases, 4 base pieces that sit on the floor, but they'll be out of the way whenever you pull a chair into it. Then there's the top, which I plan to be around 2 inches thick. You can see the base post. I had quoted a 4x4. I'm actually going to laminate my own post. It'll look a lot better. I had quoted pine. Mixing pine and poplar, I didn't really want to do that. I wanted it to be all the same species of wood because, as you know, stain looks different on different types of wood, so I wanted the stain to all look the same. Then the tabletop, this would have been a lot cheaper. I ended up spending almost twice as much on the lumber for this just because I had quoted southern yellow pine, and I'm going to use poplar instead, and I just used some 1x8s for that. This is the total for just the materials. That ended up being a lot more than I originally quoted. Looking down here, I have some stain, some butcher block finish, screws, glue, all that good stuff. So with that, the total cost of the materials is $206.70. With tax was $219.10. It ended up being $100 more than that just because I changed up the design a little bit, changed up the wood that I was using. This 4x4 post is probably going to be thicker. I don't think 4x4 is going to be substantial enough to look nice. I might go 6x6 there. And then the boards and everything should be all about the same. Here's the start of my cut list. So these are parts that I've cut out. That's kind of an ongoing list. I still need to work out all the rest of them. But I'm going to work on the tabletop first, and then once that's gluing and everything, then I can move on to the rest of the pieces. Enjoy the video. I'm excited to do this project. Here's all the lumber. So these are going to be my top pieces. So I need to cut these in half, and then I need to go ahead and cut these to length too. These are going to be for the legs and the supports and the post. So I have 5 1x6x8s, 3 1x8x8s. Got the miter saw out, and then I'm going to glue these up into a big panel. Here we go. 1x7x43. Going to be the dimensions for my top. So I'm going to cut those down first to rough length, which is 43. It is going to be 41 inches in diameter, but I need a little bit of extra room on the sides just so I can cut out the circle. So got the miter saw out, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm glad I didn't cut them on the table saw first because I'm just big enough that cutting the circle out, I have about a 1/2 inch on either side. So I'm just going to glue these up, make a panel right now, and then I'll go ahead and fix up that panel, sand it, make it nice and flat, take a hand plane to it, all that good stuff. Quick tip, to clear out the glue from a glue bottle, you just use some mechanic wire like so, and usually you can clean it out pretty well. You can also do this with a paper clip. I've done that at school. Now you should have a clear place for the glue to go through. Quick tip.
Make you chase.
Another quick tip, whenever you're gluing up a panel, if you can see the end grain here, we want the end grain to kind of go smiley face, frowny face, so that it doesn't just cup over time. So I got both panels glued up. I did 2 boards and I did 4 boards in the other one. So these 2 aren't together. Then they will be here in just a second. And then I'll be ready to trim it up and make it into a circle. Here we go. Day 2 of the build for the dining table, and that's what the panel looks like with everything all glued up. So there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and take the clamps off, and then I need to start working on, I'm gonna glue up the post first. If I take a piece of lumber from my stack of lumber here, and I place it ever so slightly on the base of the table here, I guess on the top of the table, not the base of the table. Looks like the base right now, but really it's the top. Basically, give us a thicker edge right here without being double the price. Basically, I'm just gonna glue up a piece on the side here, and then a piece on this side, and then a piece over there, and a piece over here, to make it look like a very thick tabletop, but it's not gonna be super expensive, pretty easy to do, and it's gonna save Chris some money. I guess we'll get to it then. I'm gonna show you a little something. It's kind of an accidental trick, but it is a trick nonetheless in woodworking. Instead of joining them, what I'm going to do is when I glue this up, because this is the post, this is what's called a spring joint. So if I squeeze these together with clamps, all right, you see how they close? So because it's not too big of a gap, what that'll actually do is the pressure on the ends, so the pressure being forced down here and the pressure being forced up here in order to close these, will actually create a stronger joint than would actually be created if they were all perfectly straight. Alright, instead of it being a jag off, just cut them down on the table saw. So there we go. Excuse the sweat here. It is hot as heck. Out in the grill. Oh my god. Fun stuff. You know what they say, you can never have enough clamps. Well, it's true. It's really, really true. As you can see, I have a bunch of clamps all finangled up here. Put some clamps on the other side and we should be good. There's 2 kinds of people in this world. Those who hate sanding and liars. It's not friggin' long enough. Can we squeeze her on there? Oh my dear goodness. We barely had enough threading to squeeze your own there, man.
And I can't see it clearly, but it's obvious. I know that you left me alone inside this empty, broken hole, and now you'll be the reason why my soul is tainted.
Well, you know the saying, work smarter, not harder. Instead of doing 1,000 cuts with a regular rip blade and dulling that blade, get yourself a dado stack and some wrenches. So you can wrench on this bugger and get the blade out. Make sure it's unplugged though. I always like to make sure I'm looking at my plug. I put it up here on a post I have just hanging up there. If you've never changed a table saw blade out, I'll show you how we do it. There's a big old bolt right here, okay, holding that blade on. All right, now again, the power's off, so don't lose a finger or a hand or a face. Power's off. And that bolt there, we gotta adjust our adjustable wrench to the right size. Give it a guess or two. There we go. So we're close. I'm gonna tighten that up a little bit. This is really hard to do one-handed, so I'm gonna flip you around. And now, one trick of the trade, changing out table saw blades. Oh, I can make a wrap out of that. You use a block of wood to hold the blade in place so you don't cut your finger. So just take a piece of scrap, hold it against the end of the blade here. So it's pushing against something. Yep, it was not reverse threaded. It was regular threaded. She's loosened up. She is loosened up. Now, when you take your blade off here, you make sure you have all of the pieces, aka the front and back washers that are on either side of the blade there. So the blade's basically in a sandwich. One washer on either side, and then you have a nut on the end of this is called an arbor. So the piece that the blade goes on is called the arbor, or if you're from the Northeast, the abba. One thing that I've done a couple times, believe it or not, is I've actually lost that nut. All right, so I have the nut. It's safe and sound. Cool. All right, now, so you don't want to drop that washer either. But that just slides right off, and you can take the blade off. So I'm going to show you how we're going to arrange the dado stack on the arbor with the chipper blades and the shims that it comes with. These are your two outside blades. So you can cut anywhere from, I think, 1/8 of an inch the whole way up to 13/16 with this dado set. This one's just the Avvampato. No, I'm not sponsored, but it's a stacked dado set. Really good for making rabbet cuts and grooves and dados, of course, and lap joints, mortise and tenons, you name it. I'm going to take this protective covering off. I'll put it back on once I'm done, once I switch it back to the regular blade. But what I'm going to do here is, imagine the saw is facing you instead of facing me. What I want to do here is, if you look at the edges, this is the inside of the arbor, this is the outside of the arbor. So do you see how it's slanted towards that side, the other side, and pointing away that way? You're going to have this like this. So notice the inside of these blades is blank, but the outside has the logos and stuff on them. Eventually those wear off, so you just have to pay attention to the teeth. But they're going to be like this, okay? So that's how they'll go on, and then there will be chipper blades and shims in between the two blades like that. So I'm going to put this on the saw, and the teeth always go towards you. So whenever you're cutting, if you were over here, if you're on this side, the teeth are going to be cutting towards you. I think there's a few instances where you should, and that's like if you're cutting Lexan or plexiglass, but don't take my word for it. Consult a true professional that cuts Lexan every day or something. But anyway, so I put one blade in. The outside of the blade is going to be the taller side. Do the same thing for the outside blade, but I need some chippers in there first. So that's my first blade, right? That's my outside blade on the left. And then I'm going to put a shim. Now these shims come in different thicknesses. I'm just going to take the two thick boys, or one of the thick boys, and just put it on the arbor. And that's going to go between the outside blade and the first chipper. And the first chipper is going to be a 1/16 inch blade. Okay, so that means the cutting width of the teeth is a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to place this on the arbor. Again, it's going to be rotating towards me. So this is the chipper right here. You don't want it to be like this, right? You don't want it to meet up with that outside blade. You want to go here, all right, in the gullet. That way none of the teeth collide and you don't get anything, all jacked up and whatnot. And then we're going to add some chippers because I need a pretty thick cut. So this one is 1/8 of an inch. All the rest of them are 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to put that on the arbor. And that one has to be rotated 90 degrees from this one. So I'm just going to rotate my blade towards me a little bit. And then put this next chipper on the arbor like so. And then I'm just going to keep going with all my chippers and just keep rotating about 90 degrees. Now at this point, you can put other shims in there if you need to. I'm going to test it without the shims first and see where I'm at with thickness. I'm going to take the other thicker shim, the 0.6 millimeter shim, put it on the outside, and then I need my other outside blade. You're going to take your other outside blade, and the logo is going to go to the right. Again, we don't want to match up the teeth. I don't have room for this, that washer there, so I'm just going to put this arbor nut on there. I'm just going to tighten it. I'm going to squeeze them together just so they don't twist on me as I tighten this arbor nut. This is another point where you can use a piece of wood on the back side. Sometimes you can kind of wedge it in there so it doesn't rotate on you. Okay. And that, JD's and Lentleman's, is how you install a dado stack. Well, time to clean out the scrap bin because I can't find stock that's thin enough. That's plywood. It needs to be belt yay thin, because that's what I gotta figure it out, is whether it's worth it just to spend 40 bucks and get a factory insert. Just when I thought all lost was hope, I remembered I have a router with a plunge base. Breaking out the DeWalt, we're gonna use a 3/8 inch straight bit to make our cuts, and that'll work perfect. You never want to push the router bit the whole way down into the chuck. You don't want to go like that because there's a little fillet on the actual bit itself. You always want to bottom it out and then bring it up just a tad, and then you can go ahead and tighten it down. So we got the bottom support all glued up and it's ready to go. Now I got to work on the bottom support. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a half lap joint out of two sets of boards, or 2 boards on each side. Now it's time to trim the post. Don't try this at home. Scene 12, take 42. When you run out of clamps, sometimes you have to get creative. Why all of a sudden is he doing a voice? This is because you have to use weight. Your table's gonna be swole, alright? We're making the swole table today.
Are you with me? Are you there?
want to make the peanut butter cellulose mixture, what you have to do is you have to take it in a pan like so. What you do is you take your cellulose, a little splash, just a little pinch splash in there. Add your glue like so, not too much, and then you just mix, and eventually you'll have a nice paste that you will want to add to any wood projects that you might have in order to, repair. You know what I call this? I call this ingenuity, right? Even though you're not working on an engine, it's still ingenuity. I don't know why, but it just sounds right. You know what? What's up, dude? What are you saying? I just had to readjust my miter saw, but I don't know if it's perfect or not. I got the perfect solution for you. You know what you need? Yeah, I know what I need. An angle gauge. Okay, yeah. Like an electronic one that's magnetic.
It's electronic.
And shows you
to
different angles
angles that you might need.
No way, you do?
You can borrow mine if you want.
Well, throw it over here then.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Not a problem, dude. You owe me one. The shellac rag's cute, isn't it?
I just hit the camera because I wasn't holding the wood down. Woo! It's the morning of the table delivery. I'm gonna run up to Tyrone here this morning. It's about 7 a.m. Still got a couple hours, so I have a couple things I gotta do, clean up the shop and whatnot before then. But I'm gonna run up around 9 o'clock. Before I can put the table in the truck, I gotta clean it out from all our camping junk and then figure out a way that I can safely transport this thing and to look at the radar to make sure it's not gonna rain on my way up to Tyrone. Alright, boys and girls, moment of truth. We'll see if the client likes our table. It was fun building it. It was fun making the video. Alright, so delivered the table with Chris here. So there's the table, matches his chairs. I did not make the chairs, disclaimer. But yeah, ties in with this kitchen and everything. Looks good. So what do you think, Chris?
I think it's nice. Like I said, it fits the kitchen like perfectly and stuff, and like it turned out way better than I expected. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you for your business. I appreciate it. It keeps me busy in the summer, huh? And we got a little buddy here named Coop. It's like an older Ranger. And there you have it, folks. A happy customer and a happy woodworker. That's how the world goes round. So, until next time, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. And if you liked the video and you stuck through the whole thing, doubt it, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and hit the little bell notification so you're notified when I make more content. I'm gonna get driving here so I don't wreck, and I'll see y'all later.